Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana, the podcast. You found us in whatever podcast app you're using right now, or maybe you're joining us
live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
Hello, all the Poison pals, all the frogs and friends. We're going to talk about some wrestling. There was maximum carnage. There was contracts expired, new signings, new debuts on TV stations, and so much more. We're gonna talk all about the world of wrestling on today's show. But hello, hit that subscribe if you haven't already. We are in your Spotify's, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, of course, and we do tons of other podcasts. And I know we've gotten some love for the past few shows right here on this feed. If you haven't checked out Best Match Ever Part 1 from 2025 on this, thanks for the love, everyone. Yes, Part 1 is available for free on this feed, as well as a new detox and obviously this weekly show, but tons of shows on this free feed. And appreciate all the people listening in 2026 going forward in this new year.
Absolutely. Yeah, we finally put 2025 to bed. Had a lot of positive feedback for our Best Match Ever show. We went long on both of them, really breaking down the top 10 matches of 2025, as well as talking about some of the worst matches, some of the honorable mentions. We had a great turnout this year for our voting for the best matches. So it was really cool to do. It was really fun this year doing our best match ever. But we also put a lot more topics to bed as well. Not just the best matches of 2025, but the best moments, the best wrestlers, the best pay-per-views, the best TV shows, the best entrances, and of course, the worst moments, the worst stories, the worst pay-per-views, all of that in our post-wrestling best and worst of 2025.
Oh, yes. Finally, we've put 2025 to bed. It's only January 18th now, but no more messing up when you put the date in. None of that. It's 2026. It's time for us to move on. But yeah, we had a lot of fun joining John and Way, talking all about the best stuff. I always love talking about the best stuff. It's good reminiscing, like the past few weeks leading up to recording not only part 1 and 2 of Best Match Ever, but then the best and worst of it. Was like watching back all this wrestling, but it was good wrestling. Like it was the best of the best. So it did wrestle me out a little bit, because then, as we always say, like the train never stops. It just continues, and more wrestling happens, and then you miss one show, and then maybe you don't have enough time to go back and watch last week's and stuff. Like, so I know some people are completists and want to like finish in everything, and we try to watch as much as we can and everything. But it was like I'm watching, for that show we had to watch 10 plus matches alone from the year, and then I got to go back to watching like NXT and whatever's happening on AEW this weekend. It's like, I just watched like the best. I'm a little like, I don't know, if you go to a movie, you like, I don't know, blows your mind and you're like, wow, this is great. And then you, after that, watch maybe like,
let's watch 5 more movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Like that are like significantly
it's
less.
Like, no, I kind of just want to like, let this sit with me for a bit.
Yeah.
I get you. What I also love with these shows is, there's the 4 of us, you, me, John, Way, being reminded of matches moments or things that completely forgotten about. And I always love seeing that in the chat room, people sort of going, I completely forgot that happened. You're right. That was awful. That kind of thing. It's a nice way to put the year to end. We all do our research, but there's always something that someone brings up where I'm like, oh man, yeah, I hated that, or I loved that. That was fantastic.
I thought for sure you were going to bring up when you said the YouTube comments was going to be just when people say that we are awful, because we still always obviously get a few of those.
Yeah,
we join John and Way.
It's also the it's you go back, and I think all four of us are pretty unbiased a lot of the time. Like we don't have any stakes in any company or anything. Like I just want to be entertained. I have my tastes. I like what I like. I don't like what I like. And I think for 2023 and 2024, I'm pretty sure I put WWE as best company. I'm pretty sure for the last few years I've had WWE as best pay-per-view, often one of the WrestleMania nights, things like that. And then you see comments that are like, "Oh, you're just fanboys for AEW, and you're sticking up for AEW, and all WWE sucks." I'm like, no, just last year AEW, in my opinion, to my tastes, was better. It's nothing. I've got no stake in the game. I'm just trying to give my honest opinion, and quite often those kind of people can't come back with reasons why they think otherwise. It's peculiar. Yeah, YouTube comments, Twitter comments are interesting places to look for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, nice comments are always welcome too on this show. So appreciate the love wherever, or the hate too. You know what? Maybe that's okay too. We sometimes the way the world's going, maybe we all should just hate.
I do have a sick thing when I'm looking where I'm like, I don't know, kind of excited to see if someone hates me or thinks my opinion's bullshit. I don't know. It gets me fired up in a weird way.
Yeah, no, I saw some people come off you of something you said. What did you say? Something about a Gordon Ramsay burger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
McDonald's is arguably the most popular restaurant in the entire world, but if Gordon Ramsay offered me a burger, I'd probably take it over a Big Mac. Right. It's and that's how I see with art. Minecraft was the most successful film in the US last year. I haven't seen it on the ballot for the Golden Globes this year. I doubt it's going to be on the ballot for
I was
Oscars,
shocked. I didn't get any hate for saying that. That was what I said. And I was like, oh, I'm sure. Instead, someone called me basic. And of course, that's definitely never something I've heard before. But basic Brady up in this bitch.
Yeah.
A Gordon Ramsay burger, though, I have been watching. I'm like 20 years late, but my work, CHCH, we've been airing Hell's Kitchen, like the cooking show.
Yep.
So I've watched the most I've ever watched of Gordon Ramsay in my life. And now I understand why it was such a thing, such a fad and everything. But these cooking shows is like wrestling. Like you got every character trying to go for the top, the championship and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, maybe I could get into this. But he's such a mean guy. He would have fit in wrestling. But then I remember I've watched other people rip into his food. And I'm like, man, see, just like wrestling, someone somewhere is going to fucking hate Gordon Ramsay's food.
Yeah, it's taste. And I saw another quote this week from Triple H, which was like, why can't, I just wish people would shut up being critics and just fucking enjoy the show or something like that. I'm like, I would love to have him come into my bar and just give him the shittiest meal. Go to the kitchen. I'm like, I don't want him poisoned, but over salt it or something. Make it taste like fucking shit. And then when he complains, I'm like, sorry, just fucking suck it up and eat it. That's how we do it here. You don't like it? Shut up.
Well, no, he wouldn't.
It's
he wouldn't eat at your restaurant. He's all about health.
Oh yeah, but you know what I'm getting at. It's so peculiar. Why, especially when you're asking these prices from fans to spend this kind of money, and you want them to just shut the fuck up and devour the shite you're giving them. I think it's any sort of art form. You want people talking about it. Right, good and bad. You can learn from it. You can see what's constructive, what's not constructive. Take some things, ignore some other stuff. But you want people talking about your work. As soon as people they don't care. What are you making stuff for? What are you making stuff for? As soon as people stop talking about it, your ratings are going to go down. Interest is going to go down. You're out of the zeitgeist. All that. You want people holding you to task, and I didn't think last year, especially for the price that they were demanding, was good enough. And I think we've said this a lot when we've gone through like Champ is Here, when like pre WWE Network stuff. And we're going, man, how are they charging $50 for these pay-per-views and producing this? Like, it's insulting. And I think because we've had a couple of years with WWE where they were good. They were doing, you know, WWE style isn't going to be for everyone, but they were doing WWE style really well. They were paying attention to storytelling, and there were a lot less plot holes than there have been before. There was a lot less short-term memory. Like they were treating their audiences with respect, going like, yes, I'm aware you watched this program 6 months ago, and therefore we need a Drew McIntyre, let's say, to be, he's a bad guy now, but it's informed by the actions that happened 6 months ago. And this all makes sense. There weren't turns for the sake of turns. There weren't moments for the sake of moments. And I think it's, I mean, that Cena reaction to Triple H, the booing, and that just, yes, I know there were a lot of super diehard Cena fans in that audience that night, but I think that was kind of a culmination of 2025 was not a good year for WWE, and your diehard fans are trying to enjoy it and just weren't served good stuff. And don't get me wrong, like as you can hear in our best and worst of and our best match ever, there was some great stuff in WWE as well last year. Like that women's triple threat at WrestleMania, fantastic. Like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, what a highlight of the year that was. Like there was good stuff as well. But if you're taking the praise, if you're gloating, saying the amount of money you've made this year, the amount of social media views and trends and all of that stuff, you got to take the good with the bad. And just like you guys criticizing us for being basic or whatever in the comments, we do look and we do try and learn from that. And you always say, Braden, on Twitter, like, thanks for listening. Like someone will slag you off and you'll be like, thanks for listening. Like at least you're engaged in some way. And I think it's yeah, you do want that.
Well, I always say thank you because I never want to insult my audience, like at least intentionally.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting because you said on that best and worst of show the stuff about like, hey, like sometimes wrestlers will be like, oh, you've never stepped in the ring, therefore, or you never won a championship, therefore, like, who are you to critique? And it's like a lot of the biggest food critics or you know, Michelin star or movies, or they're not in that field, but they're people who have worked and been and watched, you know what I mean? Like, and then the TNA stuff came out where I think it was Moose this week from TNA.
Yeah.
Just going off on people on Twitter, basically saying those things like, you've never done this. And the way he worded things, he later backtracked and kind of said, okay, maybe I was wrong in saying, because people were checking him like, oh, sorry, like you just said about the food thing. Like, oh, so you're allowed to eat something and just swallow it no matter what it is.
Excuse me, sir. My chicken wings are raw. Okay. Well, I hate them. They're raw. They're going to give me food poisoning. Sorry, have you ever worked in a professional kitchen in your life? Well, no. Then shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, but it tastes gross, and I'm worried it's going to give me food poisoning. Again, have you worked in a kitchen before? No. There we go. Like,
apply that logic. It's definitely strange. Okay, like, so I just find that Triple H then saying, like, stop being a critic. Like, man, I go to a movie, and the second I leave the movie, if you went with friends or someone, you go, oh, I really like that. You know, that part or that character was really good. Oh, I love the soundtrack. Or, oh, that sucked. Like, that's usually right away when you walk out of a movie, you have a reaction or a thought or like something. Even if you went to the movie by yourself, you're going to think, oh, I really love that. When I walk out of a movie, like the last few movies I went to in the theater, I go, oh, man, that might be one of the best movies I've seen this year. Or I walk out of something like, oh, I was expecting a little bit more out of that one. Or like, that was weird that they did that, or hated the ending, you know? Like,
you go to see stuff like because you like a certain actor and you like their work, or you like a director, and the film's not good. It's not saying you hate these people. You still respect work and effort. And like, you look at the credits of a movie, the amount of people, no one goes out their way intentionally trying to make a bad movie. But
right.
but it's you go, well,
And,
sorry, you missed the mark on this one. It didn't work. Didn't like it.
And you know what? Like, just because I haven't seen Minecraft doesn't mean it's not good. I know fucking millions of kids love that movie, and that's totally okay. But like, that's not winning the best movie of the year.
No.
People are gonna be like, oh, that was like the best shit this year. Like, no, of course not. So like, it can go both ways. It's okay. It's art. It is objective. You are like subjective. You are you are allowed to object it if you don't want to watch it, if you don't like it, this and that. But like, there is no dog in the fight when it comes to us, and we just like to like discuss things, and people, I don't know, seem to think we're like, oh, you're so anti this, and the tribalism and everything is crazy. And I just think back to the days before WWE, and there was those kinds of people who were like, oh, it's only WWE and everything else kind of doesn't matter. Indie shows, Japan, Mexico, none of that matters. It's only whatever happens in WWE matters, essentially. And that was the thing, sure. But I think the way WWE got really popular a few years ago, which led to like the big numbers and the money and all that stuff, like wrestling also, the other wrestling world is piggybacked off that. So that's why you are seeing like interest in AEWs and your New Japans and all this stuff, because maybe people realize they like wrestling and then branch off into other things. And I'll say support your indie wrestling while I'm also on that topic as well, because I just find like, oh, well, it makes the most money, therefore it is the best. Is like, is that something we look at in music?
Like,
movies,
it's
food?
also like
what
a weird thing where I'm like, why do you care about how much more money these billionaires are making? Like, why is that something you're invested in? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's interesting for sure. It's interesting looking at things like ratings and business metrics and that. It's interesting, but it doesn't mean, like, if I thought a pay-per-view was shit and then Paul Levesque comes out and says, this is the highest grossing arena gate in history, I don't then suddenly go, oh man, yeah, it was a great show. It's like, I still thought the show was shit. Like, congrats, you conned 20,000 people out of spending minimum $300 on a ticket. Good for you. But like, doesn't mean my opinion on the art you presented me has changed in any way.
Yeah, very, very strange way to kind of look at it. I just think like there's so many other things in the world of art or sports, whatever it is that people charge money for. And just because it's number one of that, like, okay, WWE is like NFL football to a lot of people. Like it is the number one. And it's the reason we love all this stuff is because we've grown up watching WWE, most likely, and people who are new to it. I just find that the content this year, it wasn't made for us. It wasn't made for the diehard fans. There might be sprinkles of that when you see, like you mentioned, okay, they called back to Drew doing this, or Cena and AJ doing all the callback. Like, sure, but I find that now they're definitely in the like, let's get the new people in there. Let's get the people who show up and watch these shows and want to, do videos and content and stuff and are fans, but maybe not necessarily wrestling fans.
Which is interesting, right? Because I think WWE so far, I mean, we're only a couple of weeks in, but so far in 2026, I think has taken a step in the right direction. And it's actually,
I would agree.
It's actually improving a lot of the stuff I've been critical on. And not just me. I'm not saying Paul Levesque is listening to Poisonrana every week, listening to what you and I say and changing based on that. But it's funny because you come out with a comment like that saying, I wish people would just shut up and fucking enjoy the show. But then a lot of the things, which has been, making compelling stories for people, making people hungry for the title. So you're excited about people's title chase, infusing new talent because the roster feels stale, definitely improving what's going on SmackDown, putting a bit more focus on in-ring stuff. All that stuff's kind of been addressed in the last few weeks, which makes me think, is it coincidence? Or, yeah, you've probably been having the same criticisms that we've been having.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think I've actually watched a lot more WWE in 2026 than I kind of, okay, I've obviously watched WWE in 2025, but I'd say some of these SmackDowns and some of these things that they were advertising for Raw, like we've mentioned, obviously we cover NXT, and whenever NXT stars are now on the main roster, I do have a genuine like curiosity and want to support and want to see them thrive. Like that's again, people are like, oh, you hate this company or you hate this show because of XYZ. It's like, no, I want to. Are you kidding me? Like, I love that WWE is popular again because now, like, it's like when I was a kid. I swear this is how it felt when I was like super young in the 90s. I'm born in 91, so bear with me. But I loved comic books and superheroes. And you know, people would be like, oh, you're a nerd, you're a geek or whatever, right? This is days before Big Bang Theory, which I can't stand. But like geek and nerd culture has exploded. Like Marvel movies make billions of dollars, and now everyone's obsessed with that kind of stuff. And I feel like that is kind of how with wrestling. Like wrestling, we were always like these, you know, we still hear this, but like the closeted wrestling fan. And like now it's busted wide open into the pop culture zeitgeist again, where people know who, you know, all these people are and characters, and you're seeing celebrities and musicians reference it and all this stuff. Timothy Chalamet and et cetera, et cetera. So it is back into like, it's okay. Like it's in the pop culture. Like even having WWE on an ESPN, which I know might rub people the wrong way, but we're in Canada, so it doesn't really affect us. But even having ESPN be like, look, wrestling's okay, is a huge step of like, I mean, wrestling's changed.
I feel that's definitely been part of their business and their marketing, is trying to have a foothold in everything, right? ESPN, Netflix, USA Network. They've got even stuff like Tubi. You know, they're trying to be on everything. So, and I think that's why they've got such an obsession with celebrity culture. It's this, they see it as an endorsement, almost like a presidential campaign. You have a Joe Rogan endorse you, it's a good thing. It's like if Timothy Chalamet, one of the most popular actors in the world right now, is saying wrestling's cool, then a Timothy Chalamet fan might be, oh, maybe I'll check out this wrestling if he thinks it's cool. Maybe I'll check out ECW One Night Stand on Netflix, you know, like to
gotta get Marty Supreme on for the ECW 2006 review.
If Fluffy tells me something's good, I'm checking it out. Yeah.
Have you seen Timothy Chalamet yet? In
person?
Movie? No, in Marty. Have you watched that movie?
I've not seen the film yet. No.
See, like I think like I'm leaning towards that being my pick if that gets nominated. Like that and One Battle After Another, I think are my two.
I loved One Battle After Another. Yeah, I would like to. I've heard great things about Marty Supreme. I don't really know anything about it, so
I've been hooked on the soundtrack. This
give it a go.
I almost wanted to see that. You know, I always say a match is so good that as soon as it's over, you like want to watch it again, like a kid with a VHS tape. That's how I felt about that movie. I'm like, I just want to watch it again. So I definitely think that's the one that came to mind. But yeah, I just the whole thing of like tribalism stuff. Like we love wrestling and we want to see them make money and be successful. But it's also when the shows suck and you're like the real fans, and then they keep telling you how much money they're making and how proud they are. And look at all these like other things. I don't know. It feels even faker than it is, if that makes sense. It just feels not like necessarily good being a fan of it. And like, again, a few weeks into 2026, maybe we are in the right direction of some good steps and moving forward and freshening things up and whatnot. Cause yeah, thinking back when we did the best and worst stuff, John was saying like, hey, the last few years, all four of us were really high on WWE, and it was for a good reason. They were really good, and then they got to the point where like we can just coast, and maybe now it's a time where they can definitely go into the right direction. And of course, Royal Rumble in a few weeks, like that's obviously where anyone who is a WWE hater will tune into this show no matter what. It's the Royal Rumble, like.
And I think like there was a comment I saw that was like. I think basically saying hypocritical, because in the past we've talked about business and we've used business as to why WWE was maybe the best product in 2024, let's say.
Sure.
But I think that build to WrestleMania 40, the business was going through the roof based on the creative. You know, everything was firing. The Cody story, the Bloodline story, the Rock, that build to WrestleMania, creative was awesome and business was booming because of that. And I think what we're still seeing them ride the wave of that, but that wave is going to come down unless they pull their socks up again.
Unless they get the final boss.
And I think, yes, people are still, from that time in 2024 or whatever, still excited about seeing a Cody Rhodes or a Roman Reigns or whatever. But that is going to start like drifting. And I think you do see that from the reaction Cody's getting at the moment. It's not necessarily people are hating Cody, but people are just starting to get a little fatigued. It's like, we saw you finish the story. That was almost 2 years ago. We want to see something new. And that's when you've got to make these changes. And I think for the whole of 2025, they were just coasting on a lot of the success, that a lot of your talent are the people responsible for your great business you had.
It's almost like we know we're going to make millions upon millions with John Cena's retirement tour. How can we spend the least amount and make the biggest back on our investment of this tour? Because it just looked so, like, in hindsight, I'm sure we've talked to some people and some friends. They've absolutely loved the year that was of John Cena's retirement tour. And hey, power to you if you loved it. But I think there was things I did love, and there was things that I absolutely hated. Like, I just feel like if that guy is your GOAT, then why was this run feel so up and down and wishy-washy, Mickey Mouse booking and like back and forth, when like we have seen other retirements in wrestling, and like it just feels like in New Japan. Now, this is obviously a Japanese custom in the world of pro wrestling. And again, maybe WWE isn't necessarily pro wrestling anymore. I don't know, but they literally give people their flowers. Like, they literally give them their like legends come out, people come out and be like, hey, thank you for the thing. They make this big deal. It was a stadium of people. And I just felt like, I don't know, you compare that to what John Cena's kind of last moment is. And he's come out now and in some interviews, and Cena said like, hey, I liked it that way. I pitched it that way. And like, he says it's kind of poetic to his career, because half his career, he was a very polarized character in the world of wrestling. And so was this finish. And it's like, I guess so, man. We were kind of mixed on it too. It polarized us. Like,
I mean,
that makes sense.
I felt in that moment, I found it hilarious that Triple H was booed.
Yeah.
And I thought he absolutely deserved to be booed, but not for that. I think that was actually good creative and the right move. Personally, I thought that made a lot of sense. But he can be booed for all the rest of the shit he's put on the last year, Yeah,
I just feel like there was a lot this year that was like, you could pretend it was really good, but I don't know. Wrestling has always got like good stuff and bad stuff, no matter what period of time that you look back on. So it's not like it's oh, this is the worst ever and whatnot. Like, no, it's not. It just still doesn't mean it's amazing or good.
Chris Jones in the chat says a smart company would market to the masses, but throw enough winks, nods, and Easter eggs to the likes of us to keep us happy. I question though, what is it you think the masses actually like and want? Because
they want to sing along.
I know when I like have wrestling on in the bar, the goofy shit, which puts off me as a wrestling fan, and I assume is the stuff that they think is entertainment. The goofy shit is what people who aren't fans make fun of and say this is terrible. Right? The stuff that pulls them in often is when they actually look and realize the wrestling is kind of cool and looks good and stuff. So I always wonder what this what we think the masses actually do want in wrestling.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, that's why there's usually a mix of different things on every show, right? You get like your serious wrestling, a tag team match, some comedy. I don't know. You get different things, but you can't win them all, I guess. But we'll talk about WWE and one of their weeks into January of 2026, because we'll talk about some WWE Raw and some SmackDown, as well as everything else. While you're listening, before we jump into some other stuff, if you do like what you hear, appreciate all the comments and the little 5-star reviews on Spotify or Apple Podcasts goes a long way. But the shows the hits, they keep on coming because how we keep the lights on is patreon.com/Poisonrana, because for $5 a month, you can become a friend and not only get part 1 and 2 of Best Match Ever 2025, but a show we call wasNXT, where we go back in time to review old NXT. We've recently talked about, oddly enough, French superstars on NXT years before the French luchador takes flight in just a few days. So Marcus Louis and Sylvester Lafort, plus a crazy episode because we talk about the first ever match featuring the 4 horsewomen.
It's a little trivia note, right? This is the first of 2 matches that solely involve the 4 horsewomen. That's it.
Isn't that crazy?
1 tag match and 1 fatal 4-way, both taking place in NXT, both in 2014, I believe, and never to happen on the main roster. So a real rare candy of a wasNXT here.
Yeah, really cool episode. Plus, Sami Zayn versus Justin Gabriel in a pretty fun match in the main event, and William Regal on commentary screaming that Sami Zayn will one day be the biggest star in WWE. And
plus, heel Byron Saxton. Weird.
Yeah. That was definitely weird. But yes, funny because Sami Zayn will be talking about chasing for the WWE Championship. Yet again, they play with our hearts in 2026. But you'll get wasNXT. That's another series that we do. Plus, this week we're doing a new episode of Up Yours. Is that correct?
Up Yours, yes. Sean, I'm waiting to hear back from you because, we need to figure out a time to record this. But yes, we are going to be reviewing Ready Player One, the Steven Spielberg film. I had the pleasure of reading this book last year and thoroughly enjoyed it. So looking forward to seeing how the movie turns out. And for once, the streaming services fell in our favor because this is leaving Netflix on the 26th of January. So we have...
Okay.
This is lined up perfectly for us to watch this film. And I don't know internationally, but certainly in Canada, we still have it on Netflix right now. So if you want to join our little book club, if you will, and give your feedback for Ready Player One, you have a few days. We'll be recording on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Up Yours is a fun show where our family members, our world champs, get to pick stuff, and then we do the review. Then they join us. We talk about, a little bit about why they like the movie. You put them to the test with some trivia. And it's a fun little, like you said, a bit of a media club where we review stuff and favorite movies of people. Sometimes people like to troll us. So you can also become a family patron if you'd like to pick something, and we'll eventually have you on and stuff. But really excited to watch this movie. I have never seen it, but I have heard some fun stuff about it. So definitely looking forward to that. And then just looking ahead, the week after is the Royal Rumble, and we will be looking the 10-year anniversary of the Royal Rumble from 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring the debut of AJ Styles, a show that I attended live. Very excited to watch this back. I don't know if I've actually just watched this show back. So very excited to talk about this one. We'll do that in a few weeks leading up to the Royal Rumble.
The main thing I remember from that, I can't even really remember the rest of the card, but this is the year before they do the Women's Rumble, isn't it? This is the last one Rumble pay-per-view.
Right.
The main thing I remember is just focusing on Roman Reigns when AJ Styles is coming out and the criticism around that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. It's funny. I looked through my phone and I have, because this whole 2016 thing that's been viral. Like, hey, 10 years ago was 2016, and people joke it was a really good year until that happened in 2016. So I looked through my phone, and one of the first things I have saved is me taking a video of AJ's debut. And it's funny because, like you said, people are looking and the crowd knows what's happening, but it's not till it says "I am phenomenal." But I'm pretty sure the live people see it, but the people at home don't.
Yeah.
And you hear the reaction, and then you see him come out. It's kind of interesting, but can't wait to talk about that Rumble as well. So all those shows plus episodes of The Champ is Here and so much more. $5 to become a friend. Check us out. Patreon.com/Poisonrana. It equals pennies per podcast. And I know you Americans, you're trying to phase out the pennies, right? I heard that last time in New York, that they're finally learning that pennies suck. So it's nickels per podcast at patreon.com/Poisonrana. And last plug, I swear, if you're in the Toronto area, not only should you be supporting independent wrestling like Demand Lucha and Northern Crown, who have some shows announced in the next few months, but we are going to rumble in just a few weeks. Saturday, January 31st, we are attempting a brand new venue. It is called National at The Well, downtown Toronto on Front Street. The Well is this new outdoor indoor mall that they built the past few years, and there's a bunch of bars and some cool stuff in there. And National is a bar, and we are trying out for the first time a watch party there with the Royal Rumble on all the screens. We're going to have some Rumble pools. We're going to have some cool prizes, and they even have an arcade with Mario Kart. So we about to fuck shit up. We go on Rainbow Road on this afternoon party. It's not usually, we don't usually hang out at 2 p.m. with all the wrestling fans, but tickets have been good, so I'm excited.
Kind of excited. Yeah, Saturday, you can enjoy your evening after. Come along, have some wings, have some burgers, some drinks, some pizza, whatever you like. Enjoy the Rumble. Stick around, play some bowling if you like, some arcade games. Challenge us to Mario Kart. We will beat you. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun day. Tickets are moving really fast now. So I don't necessarily see us having many left a week from now. So don't leave it too late. If you are thinking of coming along, get those tickets, get your group together. We'll sort you out with a table. It's going to be a blast. We can't wait.
I love doing Rumble pools when we'd have watch parties with just the boys and whatever, but doing it with people, and when now, you've gotten some prizes and we've got some fun stuff. I know our boy Tom is going to be there with Pure Fandom. He's going to have a table and selling belts and masks and all that stuff. So we usually have quite the party, and we like to liven it up. And the Rumble is always the most fun, surprises and stuff. And I just know that the bar that we're at, the National, downtown Toronto, it will go nuts if Chris Jericho shows up. A bunch of Canadians will lose their minds. I know people have been asking for it, so we shall see if that happens. But doesn't mean he's necessarily going to win. But how do we do it? Sometimes if you get the biggest surprise, you get a prize. If you're
I do things I'll have to find last year's list, but I do stuff if it's a return or a debut, you get something. If you have a NXT talent come up, you get something for that. We even give prizes for the shitty things, if your person happened to be eliminated the fastest, because it sucks when you realize your person comes in and you're like, oh great, I've got Akira Tozawa, awesome, and then the next person has Roman Reigns or whoever. You're like, fuck. It's hey, you can get prizes for being shit in the Rumble as well. So
I remember, last year someone won shortest in, and we gave them a figure, and they were like, "What?" But my guy was eliminated the quickest, and we're like, "Yeah,
my guy sucked." It's this is why we're giving you a fucking Ryback figure.
No, the Ryback figure is still in your butter drawer.
Yeah, it is in the butter drawer. Yeah.
Anyways, very excited about the Rumble. Let us know. Tickets it will sell out. So we are looking forward to having lots of fun with the Rumble pools and whatnot, and some specials and everything. So very excited about that. We will be doing a show on the Sunday after the Royal Rumble at 2 p.m. So catch us here at that same time. But this weekend, a week from now, you're going to be in Montreal, right?
Yeah, we'll have to have a talk on off air how we're doing this. I imagine it'll be a slightly different Poisonrana possibly next week, but I will be giving my live report on Saturday night's main event, and now we're starting to see what the card is going to be as well. So be heading. I've somehow only ever gone to Montreal in the winter when it's bleak and cold and they don't clear the streets. But I've had a good time each time, so I'm looking forward to this.
So stay tuned, because we might not go live Sunday. You might record something. Maybe I could call you. We could record it or upload it or something. But potentially something on the Sunday. We'll have some sort of show in some capacity. Maybe a Snap Rana, if you will, with Davie talking about Saturday night's main event. And so anyone in Montreal, Davie will be at that show. So let him know where he should go get the best poutine in the city. But also anyone out in the West Coast, Vancouver or Calgary, we would love to know where to go, where the hot spot wrestling. And now I'm not going to go to the Heart House and just knock on the door or try to see the dungeon, because I'm pretty sure someone else owns.
I want to see the bear. That's what I want to see.
Is that bear definitely not alive?
But I want my feet cleaned by a bear. That's
I want to wrestle a bear, bro.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do. That's not a euphemism, by the way. I do want to go to Calgary and see some popular country bars and Hitman's Bar, obviously. But yeah, we want to know if for anyone in our West Coast area, please hit us up, because we are making the trip for that, and we're kind of planning things. And they're doing a Dynamite in Edmonton, not Calgary, but we just really want to go to Hitman's Bar. So we've been doing a podcast on NXT for years, and Shawn Michaels runs NXT. But instead of ever going there together, we want to go to Hitman's Bar.
Yes.
Support Canada. So let us know. DMs are open there, but very excited. Stay tuned. And we will be back this Tuesday for an Up Next, for anyone wondering. Where do you want to start today? Because there's a few things. I feel like this was a quiet week, and then it turned into not so much quiet week with like TV debuts, contracts, people leaving, people appearing. I don't even know.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you. I said I wasn't gonna be able to watch TNA, but I did manage to cram it in two times speed on my walk this morning.
I wasn't gonna make you do it. I totally understood. I wouldn't do it either.
You seemed mad, and I was like, "What? Why are you trying to make me watch TNA?" Like, I struggle. I'm like, "Hey, Braden, you should probably watch the Undisputed WWE Championship this week," and you're like, "Oh, do I have to?" And then you're giving me shit, trying to get me to watch TNA while my long distance girlfriend's in town for a few days. I'm like, sure, that's how I'm spending my Thursday night, but I did it for you. Do you want to start with that?
And I was gonna say, maybe it's because I'm not even trying to I'm not trying to reach here. I'm not trying to boost, but maybe one of the worst episodes of a wrestling TV show I've possibly ever watched. And I was like, no, you have to watch it too. You have to watch it too. And to be fair, hopefully my other bosses are listening. I put it on while I was at work, so I technically was being paid while I was watching this show.
Me, and you know what? Giving up my valuable free fucking time.
And you know what? I still want my money back from. I still thought it was a waste of time.
Okay, so
I'm so sorry, brother.
No, I mean, okay, so I'm of the belief, if I didn't watch this, I wasn't going to give my opinion. I don't like giving my opinion based on opinions I've read online or 30-second clips I've seen. If I'm going to shit on something, I need to see it with my own eyes to shit on it. Similarly with praising stuff. So I did watch this. I did watch this at 2 times speed, so you can judge my opinion based on that, because maybe I didn't.
It was over quicker. But...
Okay, this was they made exactly the same mistake I thought WWE did on their Netflix debut.
Okay.
And that is focusing way too much on celebrities and past wrestlers and superstars and history and that sort of stuff, rather than championing the stuff that is actually good about the company at the moment. The difference is when WWE does this, it's like, wow, look, we've got Tyrese Halliburton and Vanessa Hudgens in the crowd, and The Undertaker's coming out. Here we have Perez Hilton, Dixie Carter, and Bully Ray Dudley. You have AJ Styles come out, who love AJ, not the greatest talker in the world. It's the wrestling that makes him great. AJ Styles coming out to talk, to do the Stephanie McMahon role of welcome to Monday Night Raw and just rah-rah speech at the beginning of the show, which is it's cool if you're there at the, Curtis Caldwell Arena. If you're there, you get to see AJ Styles live. That's awesome. For me, I see AJ Styles every Friday night on TV or every Monday night, whatever show he's on. So it means nothing for me to see AJ come out and say a whole load of nothing about TNA. There was barely any wrestling on the show.
I'll stop you there. Like, okay, that is special, but I do agree. Like, he came out and said a whole nothing. It's almost like he could have said, "Hey, I'm actually, they asked me to do this, and I had to do it." Because he's kind of made it clear in interviews with some comments over the years, like, I don't want anything to do with them. And now WWE is like in bed with them. It makes me be the one guy that has a tie-in, and like I don't really care about it, but he feels like he's kind of forced to do this. It's like when Christian Cage, remember in the trade.
Yeah,
he had to do that promo, and it's like he didn't want to be there. He didn't give a fuck.
It was such a generic promo that anyone could say. Whereas I think even bringing up, I've had being a bit more personal. I've had an interesting history with TNA. Like without TNA, maybe I wouldn't have been noticed on a global stage. And I've wrestled some of my favorite opponents in this company, the likes of Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. And some people even still on the roster today, including Kazarian in the main event. I've had my ups and downs with the company, but seeing what they're doing right now, seeing the influx of young talent and what they're capable of, this makes me excited to be a TNA fan again, excited to be a part of TNA's history, stuff like that, rather than just...
You just got a better promo than AJ Styles did on Thursday night.
Rather than just coming out and being like, hey, TNA's great. Isn't it cool being on AMC? Let me hear you. TNA. Now let's pass over to another promo segment, followed by another promo segment.
He was like, I think he said, I don't want to take up too much time because we got to get to the wrestling. Bro, they never got to the wrestling on this show. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think, okay, AJ is the guy. He was Mr. TNA, like the biggest star, homegrown guy, like became a name in TNA and obviously had a huge successful career. And a lot of people know him because of that and everything. And I just feel like maybe he doesn't love the attachment, but is like, okay, I'll do it. So it is cool that he's there. They have the moment later where he stares at Kazarian's title. Like I joked months ago, like there could be a way to do like a big at the time. Leon Slater is champion. AJ Styles being the first champion. Do a thing there where AJ wins it. It gets option C where you can cash in for a match at the world title. Like, why not give AJ the world title one more time? You've already given it to Trick Williams. Like, you've already done the like switching around and stuff. Like, I don't know if maybe that's something he's just not.
I mean, this is his last year. Realistically, I don't see him being either world champion in WWE again.
Yeah.
So giving something like the TNA championship, having it defended on a WWE pay-per-view even
would be cool.
Like, isn't a terrible idea. It gives him something meaningful. Kind of like, I mean, I know it was short, but kind of like Cena having the IC title. It like right towards the end. Like I don't hate that idea at all.
So like, yeah, like I was a TNA fan back in the day. Like I was watching when he was someone who I knew him only from watching TNA and people loved him. I love to watch him. So I do think it was cool having him come out, but he unfortunately I thought did say a whole lot of nothing. Like he was just there to be there and show face, but still hearing the music, Get Ready to Fly, I was like hyped up. Like that used to be the banging theme song. And I was like, okay, sick. Like we should get AJ versus Leon Slater in 2026. Like in obviously we'll get to other things that maybe didn't work out for the show, but like I would have had him wrestle on this show. Like you said, he should,
or at least tease, like, okay, he had the like look at the title.
Yeah.
But at least, have him cut his promo and someone comes out and shoots him down. Like, this isn't about you. Like, and, like the role we've had before with Jinder Mahal and The Rock and stuff like that, just some AJ Francis comes out to talk a load of shit to him and gets hit with a phenomenal forearm. Something like that even
to say like, hey, I've talked about, I'm going to be winding down my career. Who's to say I shouldn't have one more match in TNA to kind of like let that like be out there a little bit. It was just weird because it felt like it was when The Rock showed up in NXT. It's like, yo, The Rock's on NXT. That's cool. Why? Just to say hi. At least AJ didn't speak for like 30 minutes, but like they both said nothing while showing up and just showing up to say hi and get a chant going. It was like, okay, so it didn't necessarily put me in the right like, okay, cool. AJ's here, I guess. Let's see what else we got. We're going to go to some hot wrestling. Okay, there's actual wrestling on this show, and it's not necessarily the hottest wrestling. You get the Hardy Boys, which I think is a great snapshot of like, oh, they are in TNA. Let's see what they can do. But didn't necessarily love the match. And then we have a setup with them at the Righteous, who I'm a fan of them, but like, I don't know. I didn't necessarily feel this. And I think out of the two of us, I'm the Hardy Boys defender, because I still call them the Hardy Boys, I guess. But like, I'm a Hardy's defender. And like watching this was just like, I didn't need to watch this.
Oh, I mean, I like roll my eyes as soon as they come out. I don't think it's what you... Okay, there's dubious visa issues with Leon Slater, right? But I'd be focusing on the young talent. I mean, I think we'll get into the Rascals in a little bit, but I think an act like that are an act you absolutely want to try and keep hold of. And I think the main event itself was fine. Like they're two solid wrestlers. They worked a fine match, I thought. Nothing mind-blowing, but I'd have had some sort of X Division action on this show or something. Like the Hardys, I think there's always that thing of bringing back old fans. People recognize who they are. But again, like I hear people, like when I've got wrestling on in the background at the bar, it's almost like a laugh. Are they still going? I was watching them when I was a child. It's not necessarily a positive reaction all the time. And I think, there's a difference. You go to a live event and the Hardys come out, it's kind of cool. On TV, I don't really care. And I don't think having a guy open the show, not necessarily teasing anything he's going to be doing, like saying a whole lot of nothing, followed by these old guys who are squashing your newer tag team, your fresher tag team in, like, how long was this match? Didn't feel long at all, was it?
That was it. Like, you've heard me complain about commercials, but like there was 3 matches, I think, a total of like maybe less than 30 minutes of wrestling on this show, if that. And I feel like half of it was in commercial, because they start the match and then it goes to break and then they come back and the match is finishing up. So it's like, really, you get to see a 3-minute match, because the commercials are about 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So there's a lot of commercials on this show. And again, that's what pays bills. I work in TV. I understand that. But like half the wrestling wasn't even on TV. And the other half of the show was all talking. So like total nonstop action. There wasn't a lot of action. There was way more. There was way more conversation, a little less action on this show for TNA, because we're quickly running through this show, because you know what? I am people. I see someone in the chat being like, Braden's been waiting for this TNA hate. And I'm like, I've expressed my feelings towards this show, and I feel like many other wrestling fans, but I don't want it to like fail. I wanted it to see, you hear people saying, oh, TNA is going to be the number 2. Okay. This was it. This was the shot to show that to people, and they fucking missed by a mile. Like, boy, did they.
They did have eyes. Like you've said repeatedly on this show that I am not watching TNA.
Yeah, and
like,
I watched it.
That there's we cover NXT. We've been covering it a long time. There's been crossover stuff, and you've outright said, I ain't watching that. Sorry, they broke my trust too many times. I don't care if Trick Williams is on there or the NXT titles being defended on TNA. I ain't watching it, and they got you to watch it, right? So, I think there's a lot of people like that, and to just so tone deaf in what their audience want. And going back to our conversation at the beginning about bad faith accounts, and I've seen people going like, oh, it's clearly AEW fans review bombing this thing on Cage Match or whatever. I've not seen any of these people, though, who apparently think this is the number 2 promotion, explain what was good about this show.
The fact that I saw Eric Bischoff be like, yeah, I was wrong. Sorry. I was like, oh shit, this show sucked. I'm not crazy. This show fucking sucked. If Eric Bischoff was like, you know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
You watch this, you're like, what is this? I don't know who this is for. Yeah. So this may have been my least favorite segment of just wrestling. Like, I don't know. This Ash by Elegance brand, who, you know what? I'll defend. I actually, in the stuff we've seen from them, they are up and coming. You have Ash, who's like not wrestling anymore, but you have the 2 women in like who are younger, who are the tag team, it's like, hey, they're pushing, you know, tag team. Is this Maggie and Heather Reckless, I think, right? And Iceman, who I guess it's a bad time to be using that name.
The concierge, right?
Yeah, we you know, we know him from like Toronto wrestling scene, Ontario wrestling scene. So it's cool to see that. But then they do this terrible segment where they say last week we got this giant fat dude, and then now we've got this reveal. And Perez Hilton, make sure you because earlier you said it sounded like Paris Hilton, which would be a huge
Perez Hilton, yeah.
But Perez Hilton, who is the original influencer, who's like, man, I didn't know this guy was relevant like for 20 years, but okay, cool that he's here, sure. Isn't dressed in to match with these people. He's wearing a jungle romper, which was a choice with cowboy boots, and then he is with this group, and they're ripping the people, and then there was the reveal of this guy who's like
Mr. Elegance,
who's like, I didn't recognize him. And the fact that like this was such a letdown for people who are like, oh, I thought you were teasing like some wrestler, and instead it's a complete nobody, which I think anytime you were like, hey, we're going to show you it's a surprise, you're thinking it's going to be someone, but it wasn't. And I just thought it was such a like awful segment that I questioned why I was watching this show again. I really was like, they got me again, like TNA gonna TNA. But I said, I've made it this far, I'm gonna stick it out. But I imagine many people left after watching. But you said they then cut to the audience, which I know firsthand. Some listeners and some friends in the Dallas area have reached out. TNA did give a lot of tickets away for this show, and that is okay in my opinion. I don't care about that.
Oh, you want a full house for sure.
We've reviewed years and many countless WCW shows over the years where we looked stuff up. The audience was pretty much paid to be there in some cases. Some people get free tickets. That is a thing. That is okay. Like, obviously, you would prefer if people bought tickets, but it looks like not many people did for this show. It came across that way on TV for me. Like, it looked empty. But like they then cut to Hollywood Row. And I mean, shout out Norm Macdonald, but you got fucking Tom on commentary be like, oh, all the stars are here. And it's what? Some dude from a show on AMC. Okay, I get you're trying to push the show, but I don't know who that is. Jakara Jackson, so Sade, who's, I don't know if that's a celebrity. I think that's just someone who's on your roster.
On the roster, yeah.
Another member of your roster. And then, hey, look, Candice Michelle, who is, I don't think has ever actually worked in TNA. And then it cuts to influencers who we are in the wrestling podcast world. So I'll never bash other podcasters in the wrestling internet space. They do bash other people. And I will never do that because I support people who are in the space that we do. It cuts to them like reacting and cheering, but they're in front of empty rows of seats and they're like far back. Like, could you have not put them right there or like at another angle? Why did you shoot it like that? It just looks so hokey and goofy. And then on top of that, Eric Young is just in the crowd alone because there's no one fucking there in a chair. It was just like baffling of what were you trying to do?
There you go.
It was just so weird. Like, what are you actually trying to do here?
I know.
What were you trying to show? It was just such an hilarious, like, I don't know, like, 2 hours of TV for me. But
like, I know art and comedy especially is subjective, and not everything's to everyone's taste. But can someone just tell me if they enjoyed the Mr. Elegance thing and why?
I don't know.
Because who is this for? Who are you writing this for? But yeah, I thought the match was pretty horrendous as well, to be honest. Wasn't the best between the knockouts here.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't great. And then we had more talking. Xia Li, who's the champion, then has to face Zarya from NXT. So you have Sol Ruka and Zarya come out, but Zarya is the one who got the match, which I know she retained at Genesis. All the while, like I don't know, I don't watch TNA regularly. So when they were telling me that there's a pay-per-view this weekend, I took a glance at Genesis. Okay, I remember watching Genesis 2005. I still have the DVD somewhere. Christian on the cover. Let's see what's happening this weekend. $50 for their pay-per-view, which they couldn't even finish the show on time to get the angle out for the main event of the show. So
Oh, I did watch the main event of Janet. There was an angle after.
No, you watched the main event of this show, right?
Yeah.
After it ended, they shot an angle because they ran out of time.
Oh, okay.
To set up for Genesis, so they had to put it up online. Like what?
Like that? Okay, maybe this like arena and pay-per-view and stuff was booked before the AMC deal came in, but yeah, just why do them days apart is baffling. Like this should have felt like a pay-per-view. Whatever you had planned for Genesis should have just been on this show. And should have been like a big deal where you're essentially giving out a pay-per-view for free. And I don't see why you would be watching this as someone and be eager to spend your Saturday night dropping $50 on the pay-per-view.
Like someone had to, some people must have, but like that is absolutely mental to think that. Like I didn't know that was the case, but again, talking to some people, shout out some of our listeners who were messaging me, like explaining some of the situation. We were down in that area in the summer for AEW, and like wrestling's hot there, and like there's lots of indie shows and stuff. Like not saying that, but I just think the interest level, like they really botched of how they tried to come off like this was some big deal. And again, like this should have been like, again, a last shot, a big like, okay, let's do it. You said they should have moved some of the stuff from Genesis onto that show to like, I mean, clearly they moved the title shot to this show to gather like, the title change with Santana. But like still not enough. Like, you had them telling you to your face, like, hey, we have visa issues, which is changing up the show. Therefore, at the pay-per-view, it won't be Leon Slater in an X Division triple threat, which they played the X Division title like video package promoting X Division, which you didn't get any of on this show whatsoever. And then it's Joe Hendry who will be replacing him in a triple threat match. And then you had Dixie Carter come out getting booed, rightfully so, probably, but from the people who cared. Bully Ray having a moment, and then the main event. And I didn't think really much of the main event. I did not understand why Santana just starts randomly talking to the referee in the middle of this match. And from that point on, there was just weird botches and stuff. And I didn't think this was a good show at all. And I thought at first, like, okay, am I just hating on this? I'm like, no, I actually tuned in because I was expecting something good. I don't know what I was expecting. My expectations were high, but holy fuck, did they let me down on this show. So once again, TNA. Fuck that owl. Because
I want to correct myself because I think I said Hardy's and Righteous, which was on Genesis. Like I did catch a bit of both shows.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Wait, you watched Genesis?
No, I flicked through. I did watch the main event, which I preferred to the AMC main event. Texas Death, it's like they're doing it the proper way. It's a bit weird, with the pinfall.
You said TNA's doing it the proper way, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, no, it's Texas Death matches in AEW aren't Texas Death matches,
right.
Whereas this is the proper one with the pinfall and then the 10 count, which is just silly. But there was a cool like pile driver through two chairs from Kazarian, which was kind of cool. Like I think both Santana and Kaz are fine wrestlers, and did the best they could, but wasn't enough to save either show, really.
I just was thinking like, man, they have a chance to get some sort of buzz from this, like enough where people like me were like, oh, I'll tune in to give this a chance. And then just like once again, like I guess it's not even shame on me at this point. I mean, it's not shame on them at this point. It is shame on me because that's how I felt. I'm like, well, they got me to watch it again, and I can't necessarily say
I'm itching to see Dixie Carter.
Bully Ray, like half these people. I feel like, okay, on top of that, the day before the Rascals, it's announced, Fightful announces they're gone from TNA. Then the Inspiration lose the titles on the show, and like almost instantly, Fightful announced they're also gone from TNA. That's why they dropped the titles.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay, the Inspiration are gone. Any
Macklin.
Word on where they're
Steve
going?
Macklin, Steve Cutler, he's gone.
Man,
who's on this roster? No one.
I mean, I'd have put of the people you got, I'd have put Mustafa Ali in a bigger role on this, you know, like not this 6-man match. It was the AMC thing that you wanted to boost. Yeah. I'd have had Moose on the show.
Crazy.
You know, like it's thinking that really just strange. Just strange.
Like I really was like, okay, I want to be pleasantly surprised. Just show me something. And I don't know what this is. Is this WWE light? Like, we have some wrestlers that you might know from the past, the Hardy Boys. Look, it's Bully Ray. It's, you know, some legends, if you will. Kaz, who's, you know, had history there before. Santana, you know, from other companies. Like, the gimmick is, hey, we are doing the same shtick we did in other companies, but we're doing it here. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know who this is for. If you're just a wrestling fan who watches everything and consumes everything, I guess it's another show to have with some wrestling on it. And once in a while, there'll be some good matches on the pay-per-views or something. But I don't know what this is for. Like, this is a feeder system to WWE's feeder system at this point.
And it's always good to have another wrestling product on TV where these people can work. You know, and competition's good, and it's always going to be good for the wrestlers with making more money and stability and that sort of thing. But man, I wish they could try and make a good product with that as well.
Who knows? You know? Maybe this is a step in the right direction, but probably not. Like maybe them having such a terrible show would make them go, huh, maybe we should fix some things. And this is what we do. But I don't see that happening, to be honest.
We also had Elena Black joined the roster, well as Daria Sonya Deville as like a new GM role.
Does not make me want to watch this show. No. It makes me not want to watch this show. Both those signings do not make me want to watch this show anymore. It makes me not want to watch it more, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. Wow. We'll see. You're right. Like, more wrestling. Like I said, wrestling is popular now with WWE. Sure. Why it wouldn't make sense for them to just fold now. It wouldn't make sense for TNA to roll over and die or tap out now. No, they're the cockroach of wrestling. They'll never fucking die. So continue on, please. But I can't say that they got me with this show. Like, I can't even think of like one of the worst Raws or Smackdowns that I've ever watched come close as a show like this. For me, like I know the recency bias, but you said, is it getting rated bombed on Cage Match or like?
Oh yeah, it's a 1.49 at the moment.
Like, I literally cannot name, like, we've reviewed like old WCW pay-per-views, which we fucking hated, and I would say that they were better than this show. Like, most things we've ever reviewed that we've said we fucking hated, I would say this was a worse show. So, in theory, I'm saying this is one of, if not the worst 2 hours of a wrestling show I've watched.
Yeah.
and at me if you could name a worse show, because like there wasn't even wrestling on this show, really. I thought the main event was not great either. So like, yeah, we'll see next week. Will Jericho show up? Absolutely not now. He was waiting. He's like, let me see what this looks like first. And then it was that. He's like, nah, I'm gonna show up in the Rumble. Showing up in Saudi.
Well, there you go. Big thumbs up from us for the TNA debut.
I'm so happy you watched it, because I know you wouldn't be able to sit. You would be like, no, you're being too mean about this show. How bad can it be? Like, from all the things I just said, you would be like, you can't say that. You didn't. So you had to. I always say I can never make fun of Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie because I've never watched it. Yeah. So I don't know if it's bad, and I can't tell you, but I can tell you that TNA's debut on AMC was the drizzling shits. So,
well, shall we move over to the number 3 promotion now in AEW, who held their Maximum Carnage events this week on Dynamite and Collision?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about some Maximum Carnage. I like the graphics for these TV specials they do, like the colored schemes and stuff. I told you, like, there is a Genesis Super Nintendo Spider-Man game that is this, and it's awesome. And I've been playing it this week in honor of this show. But this had some wrestling on this show, and I think going into this episode, this was the night before. This was obviously live the Wednesday before the Thursday from TNA's live AMC debut. And this is where the news came out of the Rascals and their contracts being signed by AEW, Fightful reporting. So like during this show, did they not show a graphic, I think, of like the Rascals?
Yeah, so this is all a little bit weird. Like we knew their contracts came up, I think, a week ago. And we've been saying like they'd be great for the trios division, the tag division. I think tag division still feels a little depleted right now. So I think the trios division really been nothing since Joe got the world title. So I think great signing. What's interesting is kind of once again, Trey Miguel, who was, I believe, originally promoted and put out like a load of tweets, like putting the graphic AEW, the Rascals All Elite, all that kind of stuff, then wasn't on Collision. It was just Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, and Myron Reed, as there was a little segment with them coming out of their dressing room, like Lexi Naird interviewing them and smoke coming out, and removed all the tweets of him promoting the Rascals on AEW. So we've kind of seen this before with when they signed with WWE way back when with NXT, and Trey Miguel looked like he was going to WWE, and then something happened, and he'd already had his like final match in TNA and then showed back in TNA a couple of weeks later. I don't know what's going on there. I think, and even when we had the Rascals come back to NXT for the whole Wesley heel turn thing, Trey Miguel, even though he was on TV, felt a real afterthought and pushed to the side back in the shadows. And it's a real strange one because I think he's possibly like one of the most talented guys in the group. Like I think he's excellent, and I don't think he really hit his ceiling in TNA. So yeah, weird. I don't know if there's other things and maybe he joins a little later on, or he's just not coming to AEW and they're just going with the other three. But that was a little odd.
That is interesting. I did watch that. I kind of skimmed through Collision before recording today just to watch some certain things, and I wanted to see if they showed up, and they did. And first of all, like I like these guys. We've talked specifically like,
oh, they're great.
MSK, and then like Wesley when he was on that singles run. Like we thought this guy was destined for stardom in WWE, and like he was putting on the only good things at the time in NXT, like he was part of, because there was a lot of other bad stuff, but just kind of weird that he was gone, and then he's back in TNA, and then they leave. So like TNA with this new deal and everything, they've talked about how they're making some actual money, but it sounds like they're still not necessarily paying the stars maybe a right thing. I saw some stuff online this week about certain wrestlers in TNA referencing having to work 2 or 3 jobs while working for TNA while trying to be a wrestler. And maybe that's not something certain wrestlers want to do. And I totally understand that. And of course there's AEW, which I'm sure is a pretty penny that they're throwing around there. I mean, Chris Jericho, he's gone. That opens up a whole lot of play money with some contracts. So I don't necessarily blame them. Again, these people put their bodies on the line for our entertainment. I want to make sure they have a house to live in. I want to make sure their family's fed because they get hurt and they do stuff for our enjoyment. So I can't blame them on that. And you look at TNA, like they needed these guys on Thursday night and they didn't have them. Would Trey staying behind with them maybe make him like their ace in TNA?
Well, I don't think it would. And that's what's strange. Like when I was covering TNA during the pandemic, like, and this has been the case forever, right? Like it's, you're looking and going, man, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe should be fighting for the TNA championship, but instead we've got Jeff Jarrett. Like it's always been the thing. And AJ stuck in the X division. I was watching TNA, during the pandemic, and for me, it was Ace Austin and Trey Miguel were the guys I get behind. They had a little X division, like run, both of them, and then they should have graduated to the main event scene. Both were good promos, both were putting on excellent matches, but they were just stuck in that mid card. And I think that's where TNA keep messing up, is not, they should be like, I think they should be a younger company, like pushing those sort of guys to then be elevated. But so yeah, I think all of them would have just been floating around in that position. I don't think they'd have gone with a Wes or a Wentz or a Trey in TNA as a top singles guy.
Right.
I think AEW is absolutely the right move for them.
I'm super happy to see these guys. Like, okay, I'm not too familiar with who's the third, Myron Reed.
Myron Reed.
He's the newer of them, obviously.
When I was covering MLW, I was watching a bit of him, but I haven't really seen a great deal of his stuff. I know he's been with the Rascals for a little bit, kind of replacing Wes when he was away and stuff.
So like,
he's good.
Yeah, I feel like he fits their like high flying and all that kind of stuff. So like, I'm assuming at this point we're not going to see Trey Miguel in AEW.
Yeah,
like that
seems that way.
That probably is where we're going. Something may have happened. Maybe we'll hear something about why. Maybe he shows up somewhere else. I'm not quite sure. I am super hyped about these guys. Like, I do think if they stayed in TNA, they could be the main guys, just because like simply there is nothing really going on in that company. But they've been there for so long, and the next step is like, yeah, do something different. I will say this is first look at them, and we didn't necessarily do the treehouse, but seeing them come out of the thing with the smoke and everything, like, they're not necessarily like the young guys that they were doing this gimmick like 10 years ago. So this is AEW. Everyone smokes weed here. So like, you got to get on the hard drugs now, kids. You need to, we need to evolve the characters. What I'm saying, like, I wouldn't be mad if we moved away from this is coming from me. So take it as it is. Like, I don't think it's funny to do like, oh, look, we're the stoners. Like, I think you should be, this is a good way to show who they are, because they're supposed to be like the stoner comedy thing. But going forward, like, I think the treehouse thing could be altered a little bit to continue that being their thing, because it's a rip on that 70s show, like stoner session. But I think going forward, like they then start talking and they're interviewed, and as soon as they get like a little bit more, they say a few serious lines in between that of like, hey, for the last decade, me and like what is their names? Wentz and Wes. I messed them up with their NXT names, but like,
yeah, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz.
They mentioned like, yo, we've been killing it as wrestlers, and like finally this is where the best wrestle. Well, we've made it here. And I was like, that is perfect, because I can't wait to see you tangle up with some of these other teams. So like, I love these guys, and I hope we can see an evolution of they're not just like stoners who are in their 30s.
I think
that's my gimmick.
As an establishing shot, it works, right? It's the thing that they're recognizable for. It's like, I don't know, Sting showing up and you see a black baseball bat in the corner or something. You know, it's what makes them recognizable. But yeah, I don't think stoner gimmicks ever really work to a greater level in wrestling. Like, I think it does hold people back, being just too like chilled and like, no, I don't want you to be chilled.
A lot of wrestlers smoke weed. Like,
I want you to beat the fuck out of someone. So
yeah.
And like, so we'll see how much they lean into it. But man, their wrestling is going to be once they're in there, like, you know, Young Bucks and Jack Perry against the Rascals, that kind of thing. Is good. Yeah. Magan saying RVD, anyone? Yeah, like his stoner
that held him back.
That completely held
him back.
Literally in real life and in front of the camera. Like,
he got high and smoked without wearing a shirt, and a cop was like, why is that guy why are those dudes driving without shirts on? Because they were stoned. And then the rest is history. Even Timothy Chalamet knows about that. In the interview with Cody, he talks about that. Obviously, weed has changed, but you can't forget that weed isn't legal everywhere. So like, that is also not something you can do in every city and every town that you go to, because it's not legal.
It's also sometimes it's like, it shouldn't be your whole personality.
No,
you know, exactly. It's like being, oh, I'm a vegan. Your personality isn't vegan. That's a dietary choice. You know, it's
you know, like, hey, I love it as much as the next person, but when people like, hey, what are you into? My answer usually isn't weed.
Are you sure?
It's usually like I like getting, I like it, but it's probably like, a few down on the list of personality. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love these guys, and I just hope that they don't go into that, like, the things I didn't like about MSK in WWE or the Rascals from what I have watched in the past is when they lean into that. And I feel like they're trying to be like an Adam Sandler movie or that 70s show Stoner gimmicks, Cheech and Chong stuff, but it's coming across not funny because they're trying to force it. And I just feel like stoners who are watching that wouldn't necessarily find that funny. I feel like just being a bit more, I don't know, something a bit different. So I do want to see an evolution, but I can't lie. I'm very excited to see some of the wrestling that we get. And I think you put those guys on TV and tag matches, trios matches with so many people, like Ricochet in there with the Rascals, Young Bucks, some of these high flyers. Like we should be getting some fun stuff from these guys. So definitely looking forward to some of that stuff. But quickly go through Dynamite, the Maximum Carnage, because then while that was happening, the stuff coming out about Hobbs was like, hey, he might be finishing up tonight, and they filmed Collision afterwards, and that definitely would be the case because as of now, it looks like he is a free agent. So
him taking the pin as well from Kevin Knight. So I completely see Powerhouse Hobbs going to WWE. We've been saying it for quite a while that the men's division in NXT really needs a boost. And I think we've got this ladder match coming up. We've got history between Ricky Saints and Powerhouse Hobbs.
I was going to say, you could do that team again where he's his muscle, right?
You could do that. I was going to say more Ricky wins the title and Hobbs lays him out after the match and is immediately your first challenger, and you can draw on their history from the past, or either way works. But I think we'd see him in NXT very soon. I even though he's, he
doesn't need NXT. He doesn't need NXT.
He doesn't need NXT. I think NXT needs him. And I don't think the main roster, especially since you're bringing up Oba and Trick and, Jordan Grace just moved up. Like, you've just moved up all these people. I don't necessarily think you need Hobbs moving up quite yet. And I think NXT really, which is still a TV product. Yes, it's developmental, but it is still a TV product as well. I think he'd really help NXT.
I think he would be better on the main roster, but I just don't know where you would slot him in because there is a few too many cooks in the kitchen right now. But, he has been someone that they have put in these positions and tried so many different things in AEW. And I guess maybe he just wants to see other possibilities. Like, I just think he has stood out in a lot of stuff. Just recently, the Hangman match from a few weeks ago, right? Or months ago. But like, talking to people within AEW, seeing things online, like, he's a well-loved dude. I've only heard amazing things about this guy. So I want to see this guy become the biggest star he could. Like, I actually really liked him in AEW, especially in the last year or so. So I do think he could easily come into a position, and you're saying NXT, like, just have him show up on SmackDown one week. People are going to be like, who the fuck is that guy? So, some people in the chat, Megan in the chat saying Hobbs versus Oba. I mean, oh my God. Like, yeah, I feel like he's bigger than Oba, to be completely honest. Like, he's bigger. So we'll see. But that's someone I'm like, you weren't the main attraction in AEW, but I feel like you might be used differently in WWE. So we shall see. I do think he'll fit in perfectly. I would like to see him in NXT, but I just don't think. I think putting him straight past through that is a bigger deal.
All right.
We shall see. But then Dynamite started off with Darby Allin versus Pac in a rematch from, what was that, Full Gear that they had their match. You really like that match. I know that. But this was a violent match. I actually really got into this. It was very similar to that match from that pay-per-view, but I felt like Darby's jumping off stuff. They didn't even have the proper lights yet at certain points.
Oh, that suplex on the stairs.
Yeah, that was nuts. Like, this guy has a death wish. So the belly to belly onto the steps was just one of the nastiest things ever. And then the ref's like, "Are you sure you want to do this match?" And he's like, "Fuck it, let's do it." So Pac is just killing this guy. There's like a 450 miss spot, which was nice. He went splat. There was like a razor's edge awesome bomb to the outside, which was crazy. But then Darby ends up winning with the attacking the leg with the chair, and then a coffin drop to the chair on the leg, and then a scorpion deathlock, and Pac taps out. I actually thought this was a really good match, but that clip of the belly to belly is what definitely went viral, of people being like, what the hell is going on AEW Dynamite? Because that was nasty. Like,
I think these two have great chemistry. I think it allows Pac to really have his meanness come out, and but both technically very gifted wrestlers as well, outside of just the crazy shit. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. On Full Gear is my match of the night, and I really enjoyed this rematch.
We had the tale of Hangman and the bounty hunter. So we actually have the bounty hunter, Brian Keith, and not the bad apple anymore, Brian Keith. I'm happy about that. Back to the bounty hunter. I like this gimmick. I remember when they did it the first time, and they remind us here because he's like, last time I tried to get the bounty, Hangman, you killed me, essentially. And that's pretty much what happens here. He puts up a fight, but Hangman beats the shit out of him. Big Bill tries to get involved, and then Swerve comes out and saves him. So Hangman gets the win pretty quickly over this. I didn't think too much of this match.
No,
I like this guy, but yeah,
I'm not loving what's happened with Hangman after him losing the title. You know, it feels like they're building. He's doing this thing. I'm going to take everything from you, Joe, and he's obviously wins the trios titles on Collision. But it just why are you feuding with Brian Keith? Like, you really don't need Swerve to come down to help you fight off Brian Keith and Big Bill. So, where they're positioned on the roster. And it just makes me feel they're building up for this Hook match to be a big deal, and no one cares. It's like, I feel Hook should have been murdered by Hangman already.
Yeah.
Brian Keith doesn't really do it for me. And I didn't think a whole lot of this match.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm like, wait, isn't Hangman like we're still doing this with like the ops and all that kind of stuff. At least it goes into this segment where Swerve and Hangman in the ring have microphones and they're cutting a bit of a promo, but before they can get into it, Kenny Omega comes out using the right theme. Glad to see he's using it for the big fights here.
Yes.
The most amped up theme he has, and he's using it for a talking segment. But
I quite liked how he came out, and because we knew Kenny was going to be at the show.
Yeah.
And he basically says something like, I've got time allotted for later in the night, but I'm going to use it here because I need to talk to you guys right now.
He loves little shit like that, doesn't he? He loves to sprinkle in like, I was supposed to come out later, but he loves adding that little thing. AEW loves doing that. That was probably a Tony Khan thing, but
attention to detail though. Like,
attention to detail here.
Me,
you know what? I liked this attention to detail. I didn't necessarily like this segment didn't blow me away or anything, but you have these three big AEW stars, the big three here. And when Kenny's like getting in the ring, he nods and smiles at Hangman, and Hangman blushes like a little boy. And you see Swerve like, yo, what the fuck? What's going on? What, you got a thing with this guy? What's going on here? So yeah, a little heated rivalry, if you will, with Kenny Omega and Hangman, where Swerve is like, yo, bro, I thought you're my boy. Why you being so nice to this guy, kind of thing. So
also Swerve v Kenny just feels very fresh as well. Something we haven't seen.
I would love to see that match. Yes, absolutely. Basically, Swerve is like, why are you here? Essentially, three's a crowd, he says. But they mentioned that they want back in the title picture, and they'll kill each other if they have to, Swerve and Hangman. But then say, like Kenny says, that I'm interested in the title, and that's why I'm here. So I felt like this is where they say like, may the best man win kind of thing, where they give Kenny the ring and they basically say like, we're all gunning for MJF and the AEW championship. So one of us is going to make it to fight for that. And it has to only be one of us. So we'll see who that is. So they give Kenny the ring. And then of course, Don Callis comes out. This feud has been going on for since 2023.
Yeah.
This feud's now going on for almost 3 years. says, "Do what Daddy says." Kenny's like, "I don't want anything to do with you," essentially. But Kenny will wrestle next week against Josh Alexander. Now, I am excited. I don't like how we got here, but I do think I'm very excited for this. Not only does this match sound awesome, but we love Josh up here in Toronto.
Yeah, finally. I feel
this should have been full gear.
I thought we were going to have this match a while ago. So yeah, really excited to that for that. Chris says further with the attention to detail point, that's why they needed the standby match with Brody and that blowaway promo after.
Right.
Yeah, I like this. I do think it is interesting. I do feel Swerve and Hangman have both been damaged recently. They just don't feel quite as hot as they were. The idea of another Kenny Hangman match is awesome. The idea of a first Kenny Swerve match, as far as I can think of, sounds awesome. But yeah, I think we need to really try and boost those guys up a bit. I'm wondering if, and I'm not saying immediately, but if we're heading towards another Swerve heel run down the line. And it was mainly from, obviously there's the tension here between him and Kenny, but there's a segment on Collision with Kevin Knight and Swerve where Swerve is reiterating, like, a lot of people are saying you're the future. I agree. I think you're fantastic. And then kind of in a sort of nasty way, it's like, yeah, let's just not wait for 5 years to make this happen. And I wonder if we're eventually going to have Kevin Knight join Swerve and Nana and maybe be a bit of a heel group potentially, or a group with an edge or something. And then you can have the Kevin Knight and Speedball feud and stuff like that. It's not something that's necessarily immediate, but I got the sense, remember way back when Callis was talking to Takeshita, and it actually took a long time before Takeshita actually turned heel and joined Callis. I was wondering if they were doing that, but it's twice now we've seen Swerve and Kevin Knight have something together.
I completely I love that. Like, I agree. That should be something that happens down the line. Now, of course, we know Collision, they win the trios title, so obviously it's not going to happen right now. But this week upcoming on Wednesday is Swerve versus Knight. So
awesome.
Like, that should be a great match, and maybe even more breadcrumbs of something down the line. But yeah, maybe you're right. Like, Swerve being a heel against Hangman and Kenny might be the better scenario. Like, I'm just prayer circling for Kenny Omega to be walking into Wembley as champion facing Will Ospreay. And however we get there, we get there. But I want to see Kenny Omega's last ride, essentially. And if this is it, we should go guns blazing if he knows, like, hey, I'm probably going to have to hang up these boots soon. So it's like, fuck it. While we have you, do it because people want it. You hear the reaction. He's definitely still one of the bigger stars that AEW have, and I would say is a big draw. And if you were to say he's wrestling at Wembley, that would get a lot of people hyped around that. So, and Dynasty being in a few months, I know we have Revolution first, but Dynasty being in Vancouver, Canada, West Coast, I feel like a lot of people will show up for him in that city. So, especially that one guy with the Vancouver for WrestleMania sign, he'll definitely be there, I'm sure. But I thought it was cool having these three in the ring together, and it did make me think, like, okay, like, we had the photos this past year with Swerve, Hangman, and Ospreay from All In Weekend, and it was like the big three, and we forgot about Kenny, and then now the other way around, where Ospreay's out, and we had Kenny with the three of them. But it's interesting to see where we would go. One of these pay-per-views, we need Swerve versus Kenny. I would really like to see that. We had what else do we have? You mentioned Brody King with Serpentico. Is that who this is? John Cruz?
Yes.
So he beats him, kills him in the ring. He's like, oh, I have allotted time now. Good thing. They remind us of the Bacon Brawl combo at White Castle. And for one of the weirdest merch things is the AEW White Castle Bacon Brawl mask that they sell, the Lucha mask.
Nice.
What? Why?
Do you wish you got this when you're in New York?
Who asked for this? No, they didn't sell it because I would have maybe bought it. I thought about buying that hologram one for our friend Graham, but didn't they sell out? I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. We had the 4-way tag match. I actually really got into this. I don't think I was expecting something to be so action-packed, but of course it was. Look at the people who were involved here. You had the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, the Demand, and the new team of Davis and Doyle. And I'll get it out of the way. Davis and Doyle are my new favorite tag team. Like, Jake Something was in TNA all this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. Like, that's yet another like notch on. Oh wait, you dropped the ball. You had this guy. This guy is a beast. He was throwing the Young Bucks around like nothing here. I thought this match was so much fun with all the people getting involved. Ricochet, Jack Perry, but so many crazy spots in this match, including like the Rana. Jake Something counters the Rana at the end, turns it into like an awesome bomb onto the outside, onto everyone. Thought this was awesome, and this is a great first glance at this guy and this new team, like completely rehabbing Mark Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just these two big brutes as a tag team. I'm into it. Was kind of, I wasn't surprised that they won because they are the new fresh team. It's just a weird dynamic heel on heel, right?
FTR.
For this tag match. Yes. But no, I thought these, these AEW tag matches are normally a whole lot of fun. I got into this.
They're like two hosses. Like they fit, and Mark Davis too. I feel like he knows. Like I have to go out and remind people why I am on this roster.
And he's made the most of his minutes recently. I think in the last Casino Gauntlet, he was actually one of the highlights of that. And his like 90 seconds he had in the ring showcasing his stuff. Actually got people going like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of love to see it. I kind of was maybe one of those people watching this like, oh, okay, that guy, like, obviously Fletcher's had a hell of a run since he's been out. But to kind of rebound and bounce back that quickly, I thought was pretty impressive and shows maybe the talent. But on first glance, if you're like, who is this Jake Something? Jake Doyle, very impressive. So these two hosses versus FTR might not be the dynamic we wanted, but I do think that will make for a very hard-hitting matchup when we get it. So, but again, you insert the Rascals. That's another team. FTR, Davis and Doyle, whatever. Like, I'm into. We got to rehab the tag division starting now, and I think 2026 could be something that they do. The Cosmic Babes of Wrath, the Triangle of Madness. We had Tekla pinning Willow in this match. Meaning, does that mean she gets a title shot for the TBS title? Is that something we could go?
Yeah, they pretty much set that up on Collision. That stat was like, you pin me, so you know what happens next.
Yeah, well, that's fair. We kind of said it.
I didn't think much of this match. I thought it was kind of slow motion. And
it was a little, it was a little all over the place, I thought. But I like this spooky group, but it's Tekla who I like, and then the other two don't seem like they're as actually scary. Like Tekla, like maybe we know she's kind of a badass, and I don't know if the other two. I don't mind them. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like they're playing the character where she's like actually scary. I don't know if it's the piercings or something, but does that make sense? Like she lives the gimmick a little bit.
She's kind of wild in a promo, and then the accent that just sounds different from everything else helps as well.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, we had the main event. MJF putting the AEW title on the line against Bandido, who came out dressed as Aztec Batman. Is that who this was? I had to look this up. Fucking sick. I mean, he had a chainsaw. That was fucking crazy. He didn't use it in the match, but I thought he looked great. MJF Bandido putting on a awesome main event here on Dynamite. I thought this had a little bit of everything. We kind of said MJF fighting the Luchadors in 2025 was a big thing. So you knew he was going to do like ripping of the mask and all that. But a little thing I noticed is MJF might be, the biggest baddie and the heel, but deep down, I know he's a wrestling sicko like all of us, because he was hitting some crazy lucha throwbacks. I'm pretty sure MJF hit the Psycho Driver #3 in this match. So MJF knows his lucha, whether or not his character wants to admit it. I thought this was awesome. Some of this stuff. Bandido with that dive. Holy shit. Like, pretty awesome main event.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The one downside was every time there was the setup for the 21 plex, and I think we saw it 4 times, I just get taken right out of it. It's just
the 21 plex,
one of the worst moves to set up with, and there was multiple times where MJF was just stood holding those ropes for like 10 seconds before this move gets hit. And unfortunately for me, it actually really takes me out of the match whenever that happens. And it was teased too much in this match. The rest I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he has so many good moves, and that move, I'm not sure. Like, everyone hits a German suplex. Doesn't necessarily look like. I know there's the whole setup with the X knee, which looks like it really breaks people's noses. I don't know how he does that move. So, like, that should be the finisher, essentially. But that is the one gripe. I thought this was awesome. Again, MJF afterwards playing heel, but then kind of dancing around a little bit here with, hey, Bandido, you'll be a future world champion, which got a pretty big reaction. And then he beats the shit out of in MJF fashion to then have Brody come out and chase him away. So is that a match we go to? Another TV? Like, we have TV weeks, months before a pay-per-view. So
yeah, I think we'll get Brody MJF at some point, but I feel we might get Brody turn on Bandido soon as well.
How could you say that?
Maybe as an ROH title feud that actually happens on AEW TV, maybe. I could see that happening. I don't know what the Buddy Matthews situation is with his injury and whether you tie it in with that. I love Bandido as a team, but
what's wrong with you?
Coming
Were
down
you
the
twisted?
line.
You want to break up? Look at these guys. They look like best friends.
I know.
Bandido, they're bros. How could you say this? Like, it would be good. Someone on Twitter at the end of the year, Brody King was tweeting like, "I will never turn on Bandido," which in wrestling talk means, boy, that guy gonna beat you up. he gonna turn on you. I do see it in 2026, but like, I don't want it right now. We need to see MJF's gonna beat Brody King. Brody will see that Bandido's the ROH champion. Maybe he wants that. Yeah, there's something there. I see what you mean. You can use Dynamite as a device to get the big match on an ROH pay-per-view.
Yeah, that
you do down the line, maybe this summer. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll see Brody MJF before we get to that. But yeah, fun Maximum Carnage overall. I thought it was good. It does leave me questioning. There's some time before the next pay-per-view, like this far out. Where do you see this MJF run? Who are some of these characters? Do we get the Kenny match?
Yeah, we'll get a big match in Australia. Right? When is Grand Slam?
I keep forgetting about that. Yeah. Grand Slam Australia?
Yeah. February 14th, so Valentine's Day. Maybe you could just build up Brody versus MJF for that, whilst the other three are kind of fighting for their number one contender spot, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely something you could do down the line. Anything from Collision, I kind of, like you said, skimmed through. I know there was some wrestling and whatnot, but the Rascals showed up, as we mentioned, and then kind of some stuff announcing for this upcoming week on AEW. So I didn't necessarily see a whole lot from Collision.
I kind of commented on the main things, the title change, that little Kevin Knight swerve segment as well. There wasn't much more. FTR cut FTR speak on Collision. Who'd have thought it? But yeah, it was all right, but not as newsworthy.
Like, I think having Hangman with jet speed right now, at least that's something for him to do. Like, they can defend those trios titles on TV or whatnot, but I don't see that being necessarily the long run.
No,
for these, the trios titles have definitely dropped down, and like, actually,
I see them probably going from them to the Don Callis family, and then it can go from them to the Rascals. Would be my guess.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
because it's more of a plot device at the moment. Like, it's Hangman doesn't care about these titles, does he? He just won it to spite Joe, but he's on the hunt for the AEW title. So maybe you get a Hechicero, Josh Alexander, and Lance Archer trio or whatever. Any combo of the 27 members they have can win this from these guys.
I mean 72. I think you had that backwards.
Okay.
They like can have a few matches here and there, but I do think eventually, like, it's cool to see Knight and Speedball get some gold, obviously, but
it
is a device to eventually we're going to move away from that, I believe. But and that's it. Hobbs being pinned, and that's probably the last time we see him on AEW TV as of right now. Like, we're not sure where he winds up, but interesting stuff. And what's the name? The pink, not the Pink Pony Club, the Flying Pony Club. That's what Speedball called their trio.
Got you. Yes. Oh, and we've somehow lost Braden. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, the Flying Pony Club as new AEW Trios champions as Braden comes back in. We lost you.
I was done. I was like, you know what? I'm over it. Maximum Carnage complete. Anything else from this week's Dynamite? We mentioned Kenny and Josh Alexander. We do have the Don Callis versus the Death Riders. I guess the Death Riders are babyface now. Because Hechicero, Lance Archer, and Rocky in a street fight against Mox Garcia and Yuta. And
yeah, they're kind of mixed still at the moment. Yeah,
I guess. We have some people in the chat saying, what is a bigger match for Wembley? MJF Ospreay 3 or Omega Ospreay 3? I think Omega Ospreay 3 is the bigger match. I don't mind either, but
I would be, I mean, we are going, but we didn't go to the second Wembley show. I'd be disappointed if we got a rematch from the second Wembley show. If I was you know, like MJF Ospreay, they had a series of matches not that long ago, already done it at Wembley. I don't think that's personally as exciting. I think Omega Ospreay 3, Omega, you hear the reactions he gets, and both Wembley shows he's been in kind of nothing matches. What was his second one? What was the Kenny match at the second Wembley?
Was he even on it?
I can't remember. Maybe not. So I think you do Omega Ospreay 3.
I would love to see that match. And like, yeah, we are thinking of going, and like that would be a match that I would like to, like I would travel for, because that's something we've seen here, but it was just so good. No, I don't think Kenny wasn't even on the show.
Right.
In 2024. So that's kind of crazy, but like, yeah, I would love to see that. Do title versus career or something. If you're something,
yeah,
like who knows? He might be, you know, not be wrestling at that point. But and then Jake in the chat saying, do you guys believe it's a bit premature to book Wembley this year? Should have tried another football venue or go up north of the country. I don't know. I feel like that's the biggest, like it's central. You get so many people from other countries coming in to watch this, and London being a big hub there, don't think is necessarily a bad idea. Like it's tougher to do a stadium show in North America, where we've seen, you know, they only had about like half the size of a Wembley this last year at Texas. So
I think taking the year out, it's going to increase people wanting to do that trip. It's like London, you can get from everywhere, like every city. The trains go to London, right? It's as long as there's no train strikes or engineering works, which does happen. But also, yeah, like if you were to live in Amsterdam or Berlin or Paris or whatever, it's so easy to get a relatively cheap flight into London. You don't want to be flying in and then taking the train to go to a Birmingham or a Manchester or whatever. And we saw how great they made it look at the second Wembley show with lesser attendance. I think they could easily do 50K again. And even 40,000, they'll make it look good in that stadium. I think they'll do fine.
That, like, again, they only do so many shows over there that the London, the British, the European crowd are hungry for it. They don't get it as often as, you know, Jake, you're writing in from Chicago. It seems like every week there's wrestling in Chicago in some capacity. And like the Brits over there especially are pretty hungry for it. And it just, the vibe of All In one or All In Wembley, I guess, was like they were so hungry for it. And it's like, yes, this is wrestling and everything. And I feel like doing it at Wembley is a sure shot. You know, a lot of people will be there, because it might not be. If you were to announce like All In Toronto at the Sky Dome, you're not guaranteed like over 20,000 people. Yeah. Like, you know, like it's tough. Look at WWE had a hard time. Mind you, they sold for a lot of money and they had to announce The Rock to be there to get people to go. But like, it's tough. And like, I would imagine New Orleans in 2027, you would hope that Tony may be cooking something up there in replace of WrestleMania being in New Orleans in 2027. So I'm not sure, but I think Wembley in 2026 will be fine. 40,000, 50,000. Like that's a lot of people there for some wrestling. So definitely looking forward to, but if I'm someone who's like, ooh, I want to go to this show, if you announce Kenny Ospreay 3, oh boy, am I going to that show. So yeah, would definitely bet on that.
Did you catch any of SmackDown this week?
Yeah, I did. I watched SmackDown today, and there was some good stuff. Like we said, we watch NXT, and to see these characters eventually kind of graduate, Pokemon evolve to the next state. Like I love seeing Trick last week interrupt Randy Orton. Like I think that's fucking sick when I watch people in NXT finally get up to that spot, and Trick being used in big fashion. Like you're going to be watching him next weekend at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, I think WWE especially, it's if you treat someone like a star, if you tell your audience they're a star, they're going to perceive them as a star. And I think that's what they've done so far with Trick Williams. I think we see too many call-ups where people come up in just like kind of nothing mid-card matches and we forget about them very quickly. Whereas I think the way they've presented Trick Williams, the way I hope they're going to present Obafemi is you're not coming in to work through the ranks. We're throwing you right at the like upper mid card, like right away. And it's shown. I'm not a massive fan of Trick Williams in ring work, but I do see the star power. I do see the star potential. And for a WWE, I think his work is fine. I think Trick's presentation is great. I loved how he had the closing angle, taking out Sammy after winning another really solid match against Ilya Dragunov. And yeah, that 4-way should be pretty fun.
Like, I think the way he's come in, like this year, Jey Uso gets some of the biggest reactions last year because the theme song, the entrance, right? That is a big thing. Look at this Kit Wilson thing. Like, yeah, instantly taking over, like Joe Hendry, who, like, the music thing is definitely what's gotten over. And this theme song where people are chanting, whoop that trick, like right away is crazy. Like, he comes off looking like one of the biggest stars on the show. I watch all of SmackDown. Not even the main event people get a bigger reaction than like Trick. Actually, I'd say Trick and Kit Wilson get bigger reactions than like everyone else on SmackDown, which was crazy. But it's because they got the music that you can like be involved. Like, I didn't particularly enjoy Trick versus Matt Cardona, but
no,
you can't argue that like WWE star like Trick that has that written all over him. He's got the charisma. He's got the it factor of just looking like a star. He's in insane shape for this main roster run. Like, he looked like he had 8 abs. He comes out looking like a star. They even, like you said, gave him the ending angle on the show. Like, that is telling you they have a lot of stock in this guy right now. So I like to see that this guy can, I think letting him talk is definitely what's going to get this guy over. Having like catchphrase like he had in NXT and the music and the whoop that trick thing. Like, yeah, he already looks like one of the biggest stars that they have. And he's barely been on TV for a few weeks, which is insane to me, because we don't really like his wrestling, but there's always room for improvement when it comes to in-ring, especially in WWE. But you had Matt Cardona earlier in the night being interviewed. He's like, yeah, I'm back to become WWE champion. I was like, oh boy. And then he lost to Trick Williams. I was like, ooh, dude. But then Kit Wilson comes out, like, what was going on there? He's a heel, but he's being cheered. Like, no one was checking for Cardona. Where was this? Where was this episode? It was in
London.
London, yeah. So no one was checking for Cardona. They were into Trick and Kit Wilson. You would think we're like the A and B of WWE.
So this venue is the venue Rev Pro are running the day before All In. This was Wembley Arena.
So Rev Pro are running a show the day before Wembley at this arena. Wow,
yeah.
Good for them. Good for them. Will Leon Slater be on that show? He's on the poster. He's on the poster.
Yeah, I doubt it.
On the venue that they've been putting on the venue. But yeah, visa issues did not allow Leon Slater to show up in Texas for TNA. But he's from England, so these visa issues did not stop him from appearing in London for WWE Smackdown as Leon Slater, the X Division champion, shows up to answer Carmelo Hayes' open challenge. I think we all saw this coming. I thought he had an awesome match with Carmelo. They had great chemistry, kind of, high flying. Carmelo, we've seen in the past, can do a lot of the high flying, some of the high action. I thought they matched each other pretty well there with Carmelo Hayes retaining, but pretty cool to see this guy in such a short fashion. Like, they got to do some contract tampering to get him out of TNA, and they're probably doing that right now because he ain't going to be there for much longer. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, the fact he's been on, he was on Cena's last show, SmackDown, NXT, and he's not employed by this company. He's coming into WWE. And yeah, really putting over. I think the thing they want to capitalize with both him and Javon is these guys are this good at 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're going to get better. And by the time they're in their late 20s, they would have, probably put on a bit of size and evolved their style and that kind of thing. But I think there's only a short space of time where you can capitalize on saying this guy is this good and he's 21 years old. But also, this is one of the things where we were saying at the beginning of the show, like, it does feel that they've taken note of some criticism, because who'd have thought it? You put good wrestlers in the ring to put a good wrestling match on, and they get over. Melo is so much more over these last few weeks than he's ever been on the main roster. Like, just his entrance, like, the crowd seem into him. He looks like a star, like high-fiving everyone on his way out. And that's come about from just 3 or 4 of these US title matches that have really got over. It worked for Dragunov really well. And I love to see them. I really hope that they don't retire this open challenge. Even when a heel eventually wins this thing, I hope it's still continued, because you put this belt on good wrestlers, they're more popular coming out of it than they were before. And Melo, who's been on the main roster now for a little bit and hasn't had the reception he used to get in NXT, he now is. And it's, who'd have thought it? Good wrestling works for people.
Like, if you are attracting the fans who are way more into the singing and the catchphrases and all that stuff, that is a big chunk of WWE fans. Like,
yeah,
the whole Jey Uso run, right? Like, a lot of the smart marks and the internet people were like, oh, he can't wrestle and this and that. But like, so many people are buying his t-shirts and screaming his name and doing the dance and doing the yeet and the singing along and all that. So it's like, well, is he a star kind of thing? Whereas people who like that kind of stuff then go to this show, they're going to be walking out being like, yo, that Leon Slater, I wasn't familiar, but that wrestling, him and Carmelo Hayes like stole the show with that match. That's usually how it goes with wrestling shows. You go to a SmackDown or a Raw or an AEW, whatever show you go to, you go, oh, it was a highlight of that show. Oh, it was probably that match that was, that you talk about. And I think Leon Slater was interesting. He got a reaction because you had diehards who know who he is. But then it wasn't until the Titantron then said his name that you got another reaction of like, oh, it's that guy, because no one knew his theme song and his entrance. So I thought that was quite interesting, because there was like 10, 15 seconds of him standing there doing his pose with the music playing. That sounds like that song, A$AP Rocky. And then the Titantron says his name. People were like, oh, shit, it's that dude. Right. And then they were like, oh, shit, that's kind of interesting that he's facing Melo. So pretty cool that they did that. I think this is the step in the right direction. And if I was WWE, I think they already have their paws on him. They got to be like, how much are they paying you? How much? Like, WWE, they think they're so slick here, because we're going to fire a bunch of people and you're going to go work for TNA. So therefore you're still going to work for us, but at a significantly less dollar value. And we're going to take your people that you're paying and pay them a whole lot more to leave what you're doing. So I could see some contract tampering. Maybe he ends up things with the X Division title and then heads here, or maybe they let him work in TNA. And if TNA are TNA, they're going to give him the title very soon to capitalize on his fame. But 21 years old, like, I'd say he's one of the most exciting wrestlers to watch. So I was really excited to see him answer that challenge. And I hope we see a whole lot more of him, because he is awesome. Some of the stuff he hit, that Dragon Rana and that tope over the top turnbuckle.
That tope away, like, the reaction just so loud when he hit that.
Like, the first time you see that, you're like, what the hell? Like, that's crazy. Megan, yes, his theme song does sound like that Ghetto Symphony song, but I kind of like it. I wonder if he would keep the theme when moving over to WWE. Clearly they used it here, but I watched that match. I thought that was pretty fun. Drew McIntyre starting the show with the bagpipes and the big entrance there. And I love his catchphrase. I prayed for this, and it happened. I loved the bagpipes entrance. I think out of all musical instruments, they got to be one of the worst instruments.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes sense for this kind of thing. So no shade to bagpipes. I loved him, babyface here, because it's London, being like, I'm your only British champion. I love that so much, which is crazy. You always remind me of that. And I'm like, man, there's been no other British champions.
No, we've had Irish, haven't we? Yeah.
Who's Irish? Finn.
We had Finn and Sheamus, both.
Finn and Sheamus, of course, right? Yeah, I can't. There's no other Brits that won this.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's Scottish.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And I like how, he said, I've got the clause that there's no rematch, which I think was good. It's like we couldn't have I know they got rid of the rematch clauses, but there's always a way. It's like, no, we're moving on. We're doing some fresh stuff. Cody can now focus on the Rumble. That's a big name entering the Rumble. Like, I feel it's going to be a pretty loaded Rumble this year. Obviously, we've got the Sami Zayn story going on, but I see LA Knight returning soon. I think he'll be a big favorite, but you're going to have your Roman Reigns in the Rumble. You're going to have Cody Rhodes in the Rumble. Maybe even your Brock Lesnar, a Gunther. Like, there's some big names this year, and then all your new NXT call-ups as well. So I think there's a load of different options you can go, but Drew sort of taken away from that. Seems, teasing the Randy's in the 4-way, but I see that match happening again down the line, because those were matches we had in the pandemic. So we can do that again, like now with crowds. I again, right direction. They're starting to fix a few things here and there.
I was thinking they were going in the right direction, Davie. I was like, oh, Drew's out here as champion. They got Randy Orton. Okay. I guess we could go back to that match. Doesn't necessarily do a whole lot for me, but I understand Randy being a big star. Then we got Fatu coming out. I'm like, okay, all right. And then, of course, I watched SmackDown, and The Miz attacks Randy Orton. And I was like, for fuck's sake. You had me in the first act.
I feel that's just going to be a TV thing, right? Like, it's...
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Can we just live in a world of wrestling without The Miz? Is it just the hardest thing to ask? I don't know. Sorry, Miz. I'm not trying to catch you with strays, but like, it really made me go, oh yeah, that's why I don't watch this fucking show. But then I continued to, and there were some good things, but it did make me like, fuck's sake.
Cody and Fatu feels fresh. I think Jacob should win. Like, I think you should maybe have a bit of a rocky period for Cody. Because
Fatu tried to help Drew, or tried to attack Drew, but then attacked Cody too. So therefore, he's the reason Cody lost. So I guess going into that, I don't know. Like Fatu, I get. I don't know. It was the Cody promo that almost Eminem'd him in a way, if that makes sense. Just follow me for a second. Cody's promo, who he gets booed, first of all, by London, which I thought was funny, but then basically does all the catchphrases of Fatu. So when I say Eminem, he goes out and says, oh, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and beat the brakes off me. You know what I mean? He lists all the things that since Fatu has gotten so popular and over, I've disliked the character of Fatu, because he's become that WWE catchphrase machine. And I thought Cody's promo saying all those things was like, yeah, I actually am already bored of Jacob Fatu, and I know he's just come back. So I don't have that much excitement for that match with him and Cody. But then Cody said, hey, I'm the first one to declare for the Royal Rumble. Bro, that's in less than 2 weeks. I felt like there's not a lot of build for this Royal Rumble.
No.
There's as much build for this Royal Rumble as much as the fucking stadium is built right now with 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah, it's
not a lot.
Rogers Stadium in Saudi, isn't it?
Oh my God. This stadium looks so rackety. Oh my God. Bizarre. If anyone's heard us talk about the Rogers Stadium that they built, it is pretty shit. And this I didn't realize they had to build this. So hopefully it's all okay. But I just thought this was so funny. Like, Cody's being booed, and then he slips in there, still waiting for that WrestleMania London. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he said WrestleMania, and then they get all excited, and then he moves on from that pretty quickly.
John Cena said the same thing like 2-3 years ago. So,
It ain't happening.
Yeah.
But you got Wembley. Close enough, I guess. But yeah, so you're getting that match next week, right? Fatu and Cody.
Yeah.
We had Saturday night's main event. And then the main event on this show was Sami Zayn beating Ilya, and he advances to the Fatal 4-Way. So who's in that 4-Way match? Trick, because he attacked Sami.
Trick, Priest, Randy, and Sami.
Nice. So what do you see? Who's winning that match?
I'd still say I'd have Sami win the match, face McIntyre, lose, and then win the Rumble. That's what I'd like to see.
I kind of think that would make sense too. Like this year, they've dangled the thing with the Sami character. I didn't mind the match with Ilya. I don't think it got into some wild punches and stuff in this match, but it didn't get to like time wise. They had like 10 minutes less than. Yeah. Whereas I felt like we've had way better matches from these two in recent memory, but we'll go back to it, I'm sure, down the line. But I feel like Sami, them dangling this carrot yet again, is almost like the boy who cried wolf a bit too many times for me. So it's going to take a lot to like get back into this believable story. But if he wins the Rumble, that obviously puts him right back into that slot. So I don't know. I kind of like that idea as well, but we shall see. So Montreal next week is going to go crazy for Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Anything else from SmackDown? I think that was about it. With leading into, I do feel like there's less momentum with this Royal Rumble, but it does sell itself of being the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So yeah. I did check out AJ Styles and Gunther from Raw, which I thought was pretty fun as well. Like first time ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was really cool seeing that. I imagine they're both in the Rumble, or we rematch this at the Rumble as well, or something.
I think we're gonna have a little series with these two.
I would like that a lot. Yeah. Like if this is AJ's last year of wrestling, let's do the wrestling. Like, you know, like you said earlier, AJ is known for his wrestling. I don't need AJ cutting promos. I need AJ wrestling in his last year. What would the AJ last run be called? The phenomenal end? The phenomenal something finish? Like we'll see. But yeah, I like that. And I think they're going to bank on saying this is one of the biggest star-studded Rumbles, because you said Brock, Gunther, AJ, Cody, Roman, Jericho, possibly. Like they're going to really beef up this Rumble in 2 weeks. So we shall see. Anything else from this week?
I think that's it for today.
Excellent. Well, appreciate everyone out there listening. We will be back on Tuesday after NXT on Post Wrestling with a new episode of Up Next. We will somehow have a show with you talking about Saturday night's main event from Montreal this upcoming weekend. And we'll have many shows on the free feed here and the Patreon and poisonrana.ca for all the links of everything else that we do. That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe and whoop that trick.
Ahoy!